Welcome to Political Face Off, the show where two strong opinions meet and the truth sits somewhere in between. I'm your host, Kabir Akintayo, and every week we break down the Nigerian biggest political issues. No noise, just we talk. With me here is Mr. Peter Obi, the National Secretary of CUPP, and by my right side is Mr. Ismail Omi, the Deputy Editor, Sun Newspaper. The topic of the discussion today is about the defections that hit the Nigerian polity. We saw recently where Peter Obi and Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, the two leading opposition figures in the country, defected from the African Democratic Congress to National Democratic Congress. It actually sent a shocking waves into the polity and has heated the political space. People have been talking that why now that the coalition has actually, they are getting it together, they're trying to see ADC as a party and as a vehicle to actually unseat the incumbent President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But now we have seen the division between and among the coalitions, whereby Peter Obi and Kwankwaso, the two leading figures, have decamped from the ADC into the NDC. How do you see the defection? Is there anything wrong with this defection from the ADC to the NDC?
I believe in the tenets of democracy and the freedom that comes with it. You understand? Because the one thing with fundamental rights that are established in Section 39, Section 40 and 41 is the right to freedom of expression, movement, and association. These are foundation upon which democratic principles are built. And every democracy, the survival of those democracies are built to the respect of these rights. For me, these two leaders are not somebody you can wave with the left hand and say, no, they don't matter. The election dynamics have changed since 2023. It has shown a lot. The people are not following the development and the trajectories of the dynamics that have changed. Then the people are not following up to, the model reality that there are more youthful population that are voting and are now entrenched or, beholden to power blocks that controls voters at each of the gatekeepers level. So that's why you could see somebody like Peter Obi who contested the election, who had nobody, who had no structural, formation as a senator, as a rep, governor, and coming out with 6.1 million votes. And if you look at even the Premium Times interview, the BBC, expose about Rivers State, that Peter won Rivers State, you will see that there were a lot of suppressions of votes. And those votes that you suppress are still hidden. So these two very important people, me as Peter Ameh, I know that I'm very sure that it will determine a lot of changes that will happen in 2027 election. Because if you look at Bayelsa, Peter didn't win Bayelsa. People like Dixon were not with him. So, and Dixon were a proud ground on Bayelsa. So Dixon and Peter are together and with Kwankwaso. So people just look at it from a very microscopic angle and think that it's going to be easy. The person who will suffer more in the next election will be between Atiku and Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Because the North is really angry. If their vote is not going to Kwankwaso, it will be going to Atiku. And Tinubu will not have the entire South to himself because Peter is involved. Because there's going to be Southeast, there's going to be South. He's not going to have entire. What they wanted before was Tinubu to have the entire South to himself while he's contesting against the Northern candidate, so that they can pick from the North Central and then go ahead to do forum shopping in some part of the North. That's not going to happen. There are two Northern sons that are very well respected, that have organic support, especially for Kwankwaso, that is going to also be on the ballot by the grace of God.
Let's look at it from the journalistic angle. Mr. Ismail Omi, what do you have to say concerning the recent defection from the ADC into the NDC? Is he a political masterstroke or is just another political convenience for the politicians?
Well, I'm not a politician, so I will speak like an analyst that I am. I quite agree with some of the position canvassed by my colleague here, especially with regards to Dixon holding the ground in Bayelsa. But in politics, 24 hours is a long time. And if what happened in 2023 is anything to go by, for me, I do not see those feats repeating themselves, because the factors started picking up, started moving, and Nigerians were like, okay, ADC is getting serious. Suddenly, these two people are pulling out of, the group that most Nigerians think were getting serious, to challenge the ruling party. if experience and antecedent is anything to go by, we are saying that to challenge a ruling government, the opposition must at least coalesce into a single group. For me, that is only when they can be able to make any meaningful change.
Thank you very much. I want to go back to, I have a question for you. You're talking about, you mentioned selectivity that Peter Obi didn't win Bayelsa in 2020, the elections. Okay, I didn't want to know the movement from the ADC to the NDC. Is it a political calculation or the mistrust in the ADC or the uncertainty of Mr. Peter Obi of getting the presidential ticket?
The NDC was bedeviled by several political issues and legal issues, and these were not ordinary. They were being sponsored by those in power. I've been in party affair manager for many years, and I know when things are not ordinary. Even Leka Bejide that comes from Kogi State was involved in that struggle. Today is in the NDC. And you look at Balana Few, he's a zonal chairman. A zonal chairman is vice national chairman. That means he belongs to a zone. That even if the chairman is going to hand over power, you hand over to a deputy national chairman, not a zonal chairman. So you can see the sponsorship of the internal crisis. And for living, Peter and Kwankwaso were contemplating on issues that might happen. If, for instance, you wait and the 10th of May that INEC has said the register of members will be submitted, though I in my own postulation find out that is illegal, is an affront to the constitution of our country as provided in section of our country, first section 40. So, but if that, for instance, you stay, and the Federal High Court now say that you don't have a leadership, you cannot go to another party. That means Bola Ahmed Tinubu will contest that election unopposed. So you have to be proactive in your decision. You can't be reactive. So the two men who are political, who are politically expressed in their own right, decided to move to a party that's not encumbered by some of these legal challenges. So that is safety for you. That whatever happens to the ADC, the Nigerian people will have a competent candidate that will be able to lead the fire into the election day. And the ADC made a fundamental error that should not be made by a political party manager. When the APC, who has power, if Bola Ahmed Tinubu wants to go to the APC primaries today, if I elect 200 people by 4, he will still emerge as the winner. But they zone their ticket to the south to show that they believe in the rotational power system we have. It is not because Tinubu is not powerful to hijack that primary, but to show it's a symbolic gesture to tell people we believe the southern agenda. So you go to Labour Party, they also zone to the south. You go, the ADC was being clever by half and behaving like a cat who is trying to catch a rat in the house. They were being clever to be able to put people and go to the ballot and do whatever they want to do. But at the end of the day, they have lost a very credible, they have lost two very credible components of their coalition. The ADC is not the same as I speak to you today. It's not the same. You go to the social media, there's no momentum anymore. The momentum is driving towards the NDC. The Nigerian election have changed. There are young people from Kano who don't believe in what 1960 people believe. There are young people from Sokoto who don't believe in what 1982 people believe. They are seeing different perspectives. And that angle of trying to say, oh, this person is from South, it has done nothing to us. Religion hasn't helped us to grow. Cultural difference hasn't helped us to grow. Language barrier has not helped us to grow. We need to bring people who have capacity for physical discipline. The people in the preservation are not sleeping. They know the truth. They are restless. Open Twitter. Onanogo is talking of Peter Obi and Kwankwaso. You open Twitter, and then Bola is doing interview. They are not people confronting and projecting the policy formation of their government. Okay. It is Peter and Kwankwaso.
Okay. Thank you very much. I would like to hear the opinion of my respected journalist, Mr. concerning what he has said so far.
Well, I agree with him with regards to the issue of young Nigerians taking, part in election. As a matter of fact, my PhD thesis, it's around that area, and I just left the field about 3 weeks ago, and so the data confirmed that yes, Peter Obi's presidential bid in 2023 was supported largely by young Nigerians, and they were being reached out to through the social media, the digital media. There's no doubt about that. However, for me, from day one, I told those who came to listen that ADC was put together to deliver ticket to Atiku. And so whoever did not understand that, and now thinking that I could snatch the ticket from Atiku makes me wonder if they're actually reading, the politics the way we are reading it. I agree with him to an extent that ADC is being clever by half, but for me, I don't see it as being clever by half, because from day one, when they were putting that vehicle together, I was telling people that if Obi should make his calculation very well, that this ticket is for Atiku. And if you look at Atiku's bid so far, the way they come together, the way they put everything, you know that the ticket is for him. So I think in the first instance, Obi and Kwankwaso made a political blunder by going into ADC. Now, coming to NDC, between now and the time of election, I believe that they will be able to build some kind of momentum, but whether those momentum will be enough, to change the course of event is what I cannot, I cannot say. But Nigerians are embracing NDC, no doubt. I don't know what the magic is, but there are certain fundamentals that has to be put in place for the opposition to emerge victorious. For me, if ADC, NDC all went into this election with their strong candidates, I think they are just creating an easy path for Tinubu's victory. This is my own position.
Okay. Before I get back to you, you make some analysis concerning the current political calculation we have, and from the fact that we have, 2023 election saw Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso. He was on the ballot. You understand? Kwankwaso was on the ballot, and he contested as a presidential candidate of the New Nigerian People's Party, which is NNPP, and we saw the vote that he got. He only got highest vote in Kano, and even in Kano State, his vote was divided because Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, that's APC, got almost 500,000.
He got 900,000.
Okay, and Atiku got 99,000 votes. Now that Kwankwaso is not going to be on ballot, and his lieutenant in Kano State already, already left him. The governor is not with him. The state has actually been divided, and the Northerners are not even happy because they believe that he betrayed Atiku Abubakar, leaving the ADC and bringing Peter Obi. That he didn't foresee that Atiku Abubakar has always has his way of winning primaries, because even the PDP scenario happens, and he left because he said that it has been monetized by the candidate, which Atiku is part of the candidate. Now Atiku is in ADC and he went and joined it. Didn't you see it before he joined ADC, or is it just a political miscalculation?
You talk about Obi leading the primaries of the PDP in 2019. Obi stated that it is not zoned to the south. It's clear principle that it is not zoned to the south, he will lead, and that he will not participate in any primaries that he will share money. And that is the reason we are trying to save this country. Corruption has bedeviled us and taken our public resources and use it for unnecessary politics. Why should I be with Obi? If I'm a politician and I want to pursue one, I should not be with him. But you are with him because you have seen that a man who is so prudent to a part that if you sit with him, you will know how he manages every cover that comes his way. So that is the most important factor we should be worrying about right now. There's too many waste in government. I read economics. I have PhD. I just concluded my PhD thesis on political economy and developmental studies. I'm telling you, we have money, but there's waste. The president bought a jet he didn't need for 150 billion. Bought a yacht. Bought it for the National Assembly. He's expanding the cost of governance, whereas he's not expanding the cost of investment in the young people that they will be able to. Look at what happened to China. China did not spring up by overnight. China sent people to go and read engineering, came back, get them money to start business, send them money to start manufacturing. So how are we going to meet up if all we do in government is to buy jets, buy utensils, kitchen utensils in the preserve villa for 20-something million, pay unnecessary wages that are not necessary? We can grow. And look at the people who wrote JAM this year, about 2.8 million. We are not talking about direct entry. We are not talking about short-term sandwich courses. That means that our universities are going to be churning out about 3.something million people yearly. There's no job for over 100,000 people. This is to be our concern. And Obi did not just leave ADC. He left it based on these issues I told you before, that there were legal issues that were there, and there were principal issues that were there. There were agreement that, join first before we talk about zone. They have not been able to talk about zone. They have not been able to discuss anything pertaining that. The old politicians in the ADC have ganged up and think that, we will deal with him on the night of election. You open your Twitter, Dele Momodu is talking about Obi. You open Bola is talking about Obi. So the only way they can survive for them to project their own candidate. Kwankwaso cannot be written off. Forget any propaganda that is being done. The next election is between Kwankwaso, Peter Obi, and Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Okay, my final question now. No, just from your own, from what you have said so far. So I believe now that it seems like the ruling party are not really involved in the chaos in all these opposition parties.
No. The two truths can coexist at the same time.
No, because you just mentioned that
the reason in
ADC is just internal.
What about the legal crisis? I told you, you have forgotten I talked about legal and I talked about that. The crises are then manufactured.
Yes,
some of these legal lawsuits are manufactured by the APC deliberately. They are not hiding it. The chief of staff to the president spoke on the birthday of legal. They say, stay there and scatter them.
But the opposition has 4 years. They have 3 years to actually register a new party and prepare themselves. Why are they trying to
I collected 100 something application and register only one. No, please. It's the first time in history. I was a former chairman of Interparty Advisory Council that engaged INEC and opposition and political parties. I know when INEC is being fraudulent. They registered only one, and that one is to just show that we don't do registration. But you can't say that what are something if Dixon are not got to court, they will not gotten registered. They were monitoring everything so that people can register. Who told you some of these opposition leaders didn't attempt to register party? They won't tell you that they did.
I'm aware.
Some of them did succeed. Because they could be asking, where is the address? Who owns the property? What is the name? Who is sponsoring people? They are asking. So there's a state hijack, but the Nigerian citizens are pretending that not to be true. So all I know is that this country must be safe. There's so much poverty. Bola Ahmed Tinubu has.
Okay. So do you now believe that the ruling party actually has a hand in the crisis rocking the opposition party, or is just a self-inflicted issues with the oppositions? Seeing what has been happening and how the coalitions are yet to even put their head together and actually divided. You can see how the house is divided, and how sure are you that a divided house is going to actually defeat a united APC?
Well, for me, I speak based on facts available to me. And if we speak based on empirical evidence, I have not seen any strong evidence. Apart from the video that went viral recently, where the chief of staff to the president was being heard, charging Honorable Abejide, a strong member of the ADC, to stay in the party, scatter them.
Even the president who have made that statement.
What the president said was that you don't expect him to help you organize yourself, and that he's happy. Or to be honest with you, historical antecedents have shown very clearly that there is no how a government in power will sit down and allow opposition to strike without, even in the build-up to 215. Jonathan's government also made an attempt to scuttle what APC was putting together. It's just that they were far ahead of him. For instance, if he didn't manage, because I'm very close to Sule Lamido, if he didn't manage the G5, they wouldn't have left him. And just like he said, I've also said it before, that if the G5 had not left, it probably would have been impossible for APC to win that election. So historically, there are historical antecedents to show that government in power would never sit down idle and watch opposition strike. And I say so with all sorts of modesty. ADC had been bedeviled with crisis before Mark and Co came in. There were litigations in court challenging even the chairmanship of Rabiu Musa before they came in. So, for me, I believe that they should emphasize that. But when they came in, they said they had done their feasibility studies and concluded that that was the only way to go. So, if you saw trouble and you went into the trouble, will you now blame those behind the trouble that they caused your misfortune? That is the way I will conclude the
You saw trouble and you go into trouble. So don't expect peace when you see trouble and you are going inside. Thank you very much. Kabir Akintayo is my name, and we thank you for watching us. Kindly share, likes, and comments. Bye for now.